Starto. Wait, what? Oh, that's the. Oh, gosh. Okay, so I clicked on, and we're here. I clicked on like 5 of the wrong screens before we got to the right one. Here we are. Okay, perfect. I went to the wrong scene. I'm sorry. So, how you doing, Zaiga? Hey. Yeah, that's good. I know you were sounding really enthusiastic about this topic just a few moments ago. Just 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 bursting with ideas. Yeah, you're like, I've heard of those games. This is yeah, but why are you? Oh, why aren't you talking?
I am talking right now.
You're talking right now.
Yeah, I am talking right now.
Why are everyone's lying to me? He was never muted. I can see it moving right now. Everyone
What?
minus 10 points.
Yeah, everything should be fine on my end.
It looks
I
like it's
see
there.
the green light.
But hi, everyone.
Testing, testing, testing.
No, you're there. I think. I mean the
Sound
novel
off if you could hear me, I guess.
the novel's moving. I can hear you. Well, this is minus 10 points to me, Gray. It's no. He's here now. Just call slide. No, I never would have implied that. I'm just saying that Zyga's here now. We can't prove that past exists, therefore he's always been here.
So, as I was saying, I didn't scramble at the last second to find a couple JRPGs that I played before. I didn't do that.
No, of course not. I mean, this was your topic idea. It'd be foolish of you to have not been prepared for your own topic.
I don't think it was my topic idea.
I don't. Wait, no. I don't. Anyway, look,
I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember you saying, "Oh, hey, JRPGs, Chris."
Yeah. Look. It's fine when I gaslight people, but it's very rude to turn that around on me. So
Gaslighting? What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything like that.
it's all electrical these days. But hello to Khatun and Sm and Lala. Hi. How's everyone doing? Yeah, how are you, Zyga, now that people can actually hear your words?
Well, I'm fine. Like,
That's good.
just chilling. I've actually been recently. I've been extremely bored.
Extremely bored.
Yeah, like extremely bored.
That's pretty bored.
Like I've literally been. Yesterday was my day off, and I spent the entire day watching YouTube videos. And then I would stop in the middle of a YouTube video, and I'm like, I should stop watching a video right now and play a game. And then I would look through Steam, and I'm like, I don't want to play any of these games.
Why did you buy them then?
You have to be in a mood to play a game, and I'm like not in the mood to play a game.
I'm sorry to hear that. So why are we talking about games this week then?
I don't know. I don't know why we were talking about games.
This is fascinating. Just following like the where your train of thought derailed.
Well, I thought I was gonna play more games, but like I've just been playing, Honkai Star Rail for the past like week. So, and we can't call that a JRPG because that's a CRPG. So,
Yeah, that is correct. Played in
and then
Japanese, right?
and then my other gotcha game, Blue Archive, is a KRPG. So, you know,
Boy, those episodes are right around the corner. Don't worry.
I'm just dodging I'm just dodging the JRPGs like across the board.
Is that like when you had like your moment of panic? You're like, oh no, these aren't from J. They're all from others. They're from other letters. Also, Jarek says
Yes.
hi. Hi, Jarek.
Oh, hi, Jerry. person that
Well,
never messaged me and like never talks to me. I see
aw.
how it is.
But he's saying hi now. Isn't that what really matters? The tune was off
But
today and watched YT vids all day too. That's fair. Lala as
yeah,
well
like
concurs with your
the
mood.
the rabbit hole that you fall into on YouTube is just crazy, and you it's so hard to get out of it.
I sup I suppose so. I've had days like that, I guess.
But yeah, I couldn't find a game that I wanted to play. There was one that I wanted to buy, and play, but it was $60, and I was
Ooh,
like, oh, maybe I'll buy it at the end of the month
fair.
when I get paid.
Right. That's understandable.
Um, but yeah, that I've been so bored, and then I would also like pull up Crunchyroll, and I'm like, oh, I should watch some anime, and then I get in
Oh,
the middle of an anime episode, and then I pause it, and then go over to YouTube and start watching a YouTube video.
I think you might have a problem. Might have an issue with commitment, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why.
Yeah. While I was watching. Oh, when did Goon did a video on Mystery Flesh Pit? That's interesting. I've been really into Mystery Flesh Pit lately. I'll need to find that video. Anyway, sorry.
I've been listening to some podcasts.
Podcasts?
Yeah,
Why'd you do that? Podcasts are cringe.
podcasts are great.
All right, what was this amazing podcast you were listening to? Hmm.
I was listening to a Chuckle Sandwich. That was pretty funny.
I feel like I've heard of that one. I don't think I've ever
It's the one
listened to
with
it, but
Jay Slat's podcast.
oh, sure, okay, that's right.
It's pretty funny, and
Hmm,
I was enjoying it. I
fair.
only listened to like I'd guess like three podcasts. That um Drama Time from Preach and Trash Taste, but I'm so behind on Trash Taste.
Yeah, I do like Trash Taste. I feel like I'm never in the mood for Trash Taste somehow, even though I do enjoy their
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the exact same. The only one that I've actually caught up with and I'm always current on every week is Drama Time.
Hmm.
And have you ever heard of Drama Time before?
I haven't. Jarek talks about Preach semi regularly, and
Yeah,
I've never really seen any of that content, but
so this goes for everyone here. But Drama Time is a show made by Preach Gaming, and it's basically a people like write in stories to him to read, and these stories are like drama experiences that they've had in video games.
hmm,
And a lot of the drama stories were from like World of Warcraft, but recently, since he's gotten into Final Fantasy, there's been like drama stories from Final Fantasy, and it's just these crazy stories that um people on the internet have like experienced, and it's so entertaining.
hmm. I mean, that sounds like that could be fun.
Yeah.
I'll have to look in that.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting podcast that I like keep up with every week. So,
Okay, neat.
but yeah,
Huh.
well, what about you? How's everything with you?
I am doing pretty good. I am super tired, but that has become somewhat normal. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's like work has been pretty busy. The days have been somewhat long, and the heat has been somewhat high. So
Yeah.
it's been kind of exhausting in that sense. But um, as far as the funner stuff, I been playing Elden Ring with friends, and that's a pretty cool game. Pretty okay. And we'll
Yeah.
talk about it later. it's kind of relevant to today.
Yeah, that's what we were I wasn't arguing about it to start, but
And then I don't know, I had like a family get together on Sunday. It was my brother's birthday, so that was fun.
that's cute.
Yeah, we watched The Fast and the Furious, the original one. That's what he wanted to do for his party. Which,
I've
yeah,
I've actually never seen that video before.
you've never seen the first one?
I've never seen any of them.
Really? I
Zero.
mean, I don't know if you're not really missing anything. I guess they're not the greatest movies, but they're. I mean, if you want like just a dumb fun like movie, Fast and Furious is always good for that. Although, like, I was watching the first one again yesterday because I haven't seen that one for years, like years and years, and I forgot that they actually started off, at least the first couple of them, trying to be like really like gritty, realistic, like
Yeah.
action movies. Not, I guess not even action movies, just like it's just all about like racing and stuff. But like the first one was like trying really hard to be like gritty, and like all the stunts are like fairly believable. Like they're not beyond the realm of possibility. As
Yeah.
opposed to like by the time you get to like the fourth or fifth one and they're like parachuting cars out of planes and stuff. But
Okay.
no, it's like the first one's like a pretty decent, like it's kind of like a crime drama, but like it's just 2000s is all get out. Like everyone's just like wearing tank tops and saying "Yo, dog," and like it.
I think the reason why I didn't watch it in the first place was because I'm not a fan of cars.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know that I am either, and I mean I don't know if the writers of the movies are like. I mean, those movies feature cars, right? And it
Yeah.
feature like all the actors are like saying like a lot of mumbo jumbo that sound like car words. Like
Yep.
they're just like stringing to. It's basically just like techno babble. There's like stringing together a bunch of like, oh, that sounds vaguely carish. Like that could be a type of engine maybe, or like a thing that would be in an engine. Like,
Yeah.
but no, I mean they're silly and fun. All has a
The
box set of the
only
six first of them. Oh,
the only like car show that I've actually watched that I semi enjoyed was like I watched I think like maybe like 5 or 6 episodes of the Grand Tour. And that's it.
okay,
It's that a show on Amazon Prime with a
that's
bunch of
fair.
like British guys trying out vehicles, stuff like that.
I wonder, is that related to Top Gear? I mean, I guess it's gonna
Yeah,
get a lot.
I think it's
I think it might be some of the
close to
same
that.
people. I can't remember for
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, Top Gear is an example of a show where like, because I generally don't care nothing for cars. I loved watching Top Gear though, because I mean it was just a comedy show basically that had cars as the props. But
Yeah, that's what a Grand Tour became, I think. I think it was uh Top Gear evolved into that or something like that. And it
right,
was pretty funny.
yeah. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to of late. Uh,
How's the streaming been? Has the streaming been good?
so good, so flawless. Nobody contradict that. Every
Oh, you
stream, it's been perfect.
oh yeah,
Huh?
you know what I was gonna do
Hmm?
today?
What? Hmm?
This because I wanted to see you play Only Up more.
Yeah.
Because the last time you were playing Only Up, it was actually entertaining.
No, only up
Seeing
is
you walk off every edge.
only up is difficult. Okay, it like I think I so the controls in that game are so borked. It's like everything is made out of ice and your feet are made out of wheels, and it's the hardest thing just to move in a straight line and
Yeah.
stop when you want to. I do want to play more of that game though. I kind of want to start playing more Rage games too. Like that was just fun. That was that was fun. And I had so much fun watching or like, 'cause I did the edited video. Was that yesterday? I put it out,
Yeah.
but I cut a 3.5 hour stream down to 15 minutes of just panic and sadness. But it was fun. It was fun to anyway.
Yeah, it was fun to watch because I hate playing those type of games, but I enjoy watching them,
Right.
and they're always hilarious to watch.
No, they're fun. Like I mean, and obviously like as shows in that video, like I got pretty flustered with it. But like I mean, I don't get mad the way some people do with those games. Like it's just it certainly becomes demoralizing after a while. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll try to. I do want to play more of those kinds of games. I could probably start doing that on Sundays instead of 14 or something. I finished Stormblitz. I feel like I can probably walk away from that series now.
Oh, are you gonna walk away now?
I
Are you
think so.
completely done?
I feel like I've kind of hit the pinnacle of what the series is. I got the big old Les Mis style ending that they do for the end of Stormblood.
Oh yeah, that. Oh my
Remember,
gosh,
like
I
even like
remember that.
walking with like a flag at the end. Like what was
It
anyway?
literally was a lame Miss ending. Oh my god.
It was. I mean, it was fun. I was just like, well, they can't possibly top this. I should just get out
Yeah.
while the getting's good. Anyway, yeah, that's been my life. In a nutshell.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Seems like everything's going well for you.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and Lala liked the start of the video. Yeah, I started the video with a clip of Lala being mean to me, as most good videos start. But James says,
What
imagine
what
if
did they
14 has an isekai.
One of these days we will have to do an episode about like the most degenerate like manga or anime that we've seen. Because last night I was like scarred. I was mentally scarred by a manga that I read.
Was it so good, so uplifting?
Oh my gosh, it was I I I uh, I was lost for words. I still am lost for words of what I read last night.
Sounds like a win. Yeah, I guess we could certainly. That could be a fun episode because I can definitely think of a handful of shows I've seen that I'm less proud about having watched.
Yeah.
But so
But yeah, like I want to talk about it, but it's kind of like it's kind of like a hard topic because you might get demonetized.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'd have to get monetized first, and
Well, oh
that's
yeah, that's true, and I don't think me talking about a very interesting manga would would help your chances.
yeah. I mean, just say all the bad words in Pig Latin. I don't think the algorithm's smart enough to catch it. That's a good way to grace say so status. I'm so say so though. I'm the say sost.
But anyway, JRPGs.
Yeah. I guess should we start off with a what is a JRPG? Because we were trying to negotiate this, I think, beforehand, and maybe this is the time to finalize and confirm.
It's hard to say because JRPG means so much.
Gosh, Lala.
There's so much baggage to it, I think.
Right. I mean, this kind of gets in the same realm that anime sometimes enters in terms of like, what's an anime?
Yeah, I agree. Because when you think about it, when I think about a JRPG, For the most part, I'm thinking of like certain gameplay styles
Mm-hmm.
and just the way how a game looks.
Okay, sure.
So like for example, um there's this gotcha game that I know of called Heaven's Burn Red or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially it's a gotcha game made by Key, which Key made Clannad and Angel Beats, etc., etc.
Oh, so this is a feel good game, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's actually pretty funny, but you have to like know Japanese in order to play it,
Yeah, fair
fortunately.
enough. Does it have a
But that
translation
one
at all, or is it just
it's on Steam, but on Steam it's on in Japanese only.
oh, interesting? Hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Especially for such
Any,
a big publisher like they would have. But anyway, sorry. Go on.
but anyway, that game is like kind of like anime style, and then there's kind of like turn-based action with the game.
Okay.
And well, a type of turn-based action, I should say. And I think like a lot of JRPGs like that I think follow that formula are kind of like anime style with like some sort of turn-based or semi-turn-based combat.
Sure. I think that probably certainly covers the bulk of them.
But then you
But
get into it with like um because JRPG means Japanese RPG, and there's so many
thanks
Japanese
for thanks for
RPGs.
spelling out the one letter of the
Shut up. Shut up, okay? Shut up. I'm trying to be philosophical here. You're like
It's
messing with my mojo.
so educational. I'm gonna continue. I'm
You know,
sorry.
I'm like listening to music right now, and like that song from Evangelion just came on, and it's like this evil song, and I'm like thinking evil thoughts for you right now.
It's so rude. I have enough evil things in my like evil presences in my home.
No, anyway, so when you, because like as we were talking about, just barely kind of referenced it, but like Elden Ring is a RPG. It's made in Japan, and
So it's a
it's
JRPG.
technic it's technically a JRPG.
Yeah, case
And
closed.
same with like Dark Souls and et cetera, et cetera. Those are like technically JRPG games.
Hmm.
And to bring up the famous Yoshi P,
The
he actually
famous.
talked about this in an interview recently.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if we talked about it on the stream anyway. But
Um.
there's this YouTuber, his name is Skill Up, and he had an interview with Yoshi P. And Yoshi P he didn't like the term JRPG. And he was
Okay.
talking about like how like he was making Final Fantasy 16 and he was trying to like move away from that JRPG concept because back in the day, Japanese developers like thought the word JRPG was kind of like a slur to them.
Hmm.
And I found that really interesting.
Right. I
And
mean,
so he like when he was trying to like envision Final Fantasy 16, he wanted to make it a more Western style RPG
right.
and move away from the JRPG word.
Hmm.
But and then it just brings up the whole question like what is a JRPG then?
Right.
So what
I
do
mean,
you think it is? What do you think it is?
right. I mean that is an interesting point because I mean I guess as a quick aside is like because it really is like it's only Japan where we distinguish it as being like oh this is a Japanese role playing game like we don't Like you never hear them do that with any other country of origin.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess to play into the stereotype that Yoshi P hates so much, I certainly think of JRPGs generally like they're usually turn based, right?
Yeah.
Like usually like a more anime kind of style for the graphics, not always. Um, and then maybe this maybe is a bit more into the stereotype. Like I've always thought of JRPGs being compared to like I don't know with like AAA publishers like in the West, like they're usually not as high budget for like the animation quality, which is why they
Yeah.
usually go for a more stylized look rather than realism. Like that's something I usually think of a lot is like there's going to be just in some ways it's not going to look as good or it's going to be more repetitive or something potentially. But I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess that'd be kind of like the thoughts that come to my mind. At the end of JRPG, you always have to kill God. That's
Yeah, that is true.
that's not even that far off. Like if it's not the God, it's a God. Like it's not even that wrong. Um, yeah, I
So
guess
yeah, I think it's kind of just hard to distinguish. Um, but if it was me and I were to like say if someone were to ask me like what is a JRPG, I'd be like, well, it's kind of like the old um like gameplay of like turn-based combat or like
right,
uh or like stuff like Fire Emblem or uh
right. Like
that type of combat too. Um
oh, yeah, like there's definitely like a very formulaic kind of traditional style.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, party based. Yeah.
definitely.
I would maybe say that. It's kind of like hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um but usually nowadays like whenever there's a JRPG, I like think of it as like anime like has that anime art style like
Right.
the Tales series or whatever have you, you know.
Like oh, what's that something no Nino Kuni kind of.
Yeah.
Of course, I think they specifically had Ghibli involved with their animation, so I mean that might be a bit cheaty.
Yeah, like Nino Kuni had like Ghibli, and then like Dragon Quest has Akira Toriyama.
Right. So
You
like actual
know,
like anime artists involved.
yeah.
But
That's what I think kind of like a JRPG kind of is nowadays. If I were to like blanket a term over a
sure.
certain group of games.
Okay.
But yeah,
Intriguing.
it's an intriguing discussion because it's hard to place it
Right. Like
because
I
like
mean
there's because games like Elden Ring exist, games like Devil May Cry exist, and those are like Western style games there, and they could be technically be called JRPGs, but they're not.
right, yeah. If you were looking at like in the strictest, most like purest sense of the term, where it's like, yes, this is an RPG from Japan.
Yeah,
Therefore, like at the same time, it's like the kinds of people that are playing Elden Ring probably I mean, are not necessarily going to, go and pick up like Dragon Quest 11 or something. Like, it's not going to be an exact correlation of audience. Like,
yeah.
so, but yeah, Eagles says, has Kingdom Hearts been covered yet? Not yet. Eagles, don't worry. I have to touch on that a little bit because Snow asks, is Dark Souls a JRPG?
Oh,
Uh,
by I think Iglis will have to cover his ears for what I'll have to say about Kingdom Hearts.
Just glowing praise. Better be
Oh
careful.
no, no, no.
Iglis has been doing lots of let's plays on Kingdom Hearts, so you gotta be careful.
I respect it. I respect it.
I think they're fun games, and we'll talk. We'll definitely talk
Well,
about Kingdom Hearts in a second.
yeah. Or now.
I mean, is is saying they're flawless not enough?
No,
Like,
they're heavily flawed. Like
talking
heavily. Okay,
like
I'll say this right now. Okay, like,
sure,
Kingdom Hearts was an all right series. I liked
oh,
one and I liked two. I
okay,
hated every other game.
it's a
I
lot of
hated
other
all the
games.
others.
What even the oh
I
what I can't even remember what the one's called. The PSP one though was kind of cool,
no,
where you play as the. You don't like that one?
no, I didn't like that one.
That's so rude.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I hate to say it.
What about Dream Drop over 358 over 2 days?
No.
Recoded.
No. Hell no. Hell no.
Uh,
No.
2.9. The story so far.
No.
I
No.
really want to play the rhythm game. Actually, that one looks fun. I don't know what it
No.
has story wise, but
Let me preface this, okay? I loved one and two like so much. When I was a kid, I replayed one and I replayed two so many times.
I mean they're
And
super fun.
yeah, they're super fun. They're the stories in it were like maybe in two it got a little too complicated.
I think for
Um
me, I skipped 1.5, so 2 was a lost cause. Like I didn't understand what was happening at all. But
yeah, I kind of skipped that one as well, and I kind of had to like
I
just
mean,
wing it, you know?
I didn't have a GBA at the time, so I didn't realize I'd missed a game. But
Yeah, so I went through and played like all of them later on in my life, and
hmm,
like before 3 came out. And I remember back in the day I was always like so hyped for like a Kingdom Hearts 3. And like it was like my dream game, you know?
right,
And so I like waited for a while, and then like there were so many years that it was like they would release a like quote unquote sequel, but it was under a different name, like Birth by Sleep or 358 over 2 days. And for me, I didn't have like all of these consoles, so I'd have to skip them.
sure.
And I'm like, I wanted to like play them and I couldn't, and it just became exhausting. So that when Kingdom Hearts 3 finally quote unquote came out, when the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 came
Hmm.
out, uh, I was really hyped for it, but as I was playing it, I was getting so mad because hated it. I hated it so much. And
What?
it was like it's probably my least favorite game of all time. It's probably one of the two
Wow.
where like I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it.
Gorsh, why?
Well, there's so many reasons. I could like spend like an hour talking about it.
Yeah,
Because I get so heated when it comes to it because of how much I love one and two.
sure.
And um but the biggest thing for me was that all the way up, and like three-fourths of the game didn't matter.
Hmm.
There was there's a certain world that you get to right at the end, and that's when the plot happens. And
Cool.
everything before that, like nothing really happens.
But they look cool. You get to go to fun places and meet new friends.
And whereas like if you were to go back to one and two, when you went to like a Disney World, they kind of like intertwined a bit. They kind of like hinted at the greater overall story. They
Right.
like were connected in similar ways,
Right.
and that
What?
was really nice.
Right.
But what Kingdom Hearts 3 was you sitting there as Sora, Donald, and Goofy watching the movie and then kind of like reacting to the movie.
Right.
And it was especially egregious in the Frozen world because it was basically like you, like Sora, Donald, and Goofy, doing a react video to Frozen, to an
Yeah.
abridged version of Frozen. And that, oof, that, that was
You
that
didn't
was
like
the last straw for me.
you, you didn't want to play a React style JRPG.
Yeah, so like so for 3 you could cut out the first 3/4 of the movie of the game and then just play it
Hmm.
and you would still get the context of everything.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
And that's what kind of like irritated me about that game. And I know that some people like it and some people enjoyed it and y'all don't have to like same things and
Right.
it was just not my cup of tea, and I loved 1 and 2. 1 and 2 were my favorite. They were well, like if I were to put them in my they would probably be in my top 20 games of all time,
Right. I mean,
somewhere in there.
no, I agree. I mean, I still consider like Kingdom Hearts 2 is like a nearly perfect experience in terms of like the combat, like and like we're just like the gameplay in general.
I couldn't agree
It's
more.
it's like just like one of the just like the funnest games to play. Like
Oh yeah,
I replayed it constantly, and I would skip cutscenes so I could just do the fights. But I mean, I
yeah, and it was so long too. Like, um, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 was so long, and you got to like replay worlds too. Like, got to
yeah.
revisit them,
Atlantica was an
and
oddball for two, but I actually liked it. I thought the music rhythm thing was fun. But
oh yeah, it was a good like breakup between like all of the fighting and stuff.
yeah, and they didn't make you stay there too long. I think that helped. You only did
It
like
was
one or two songs at a time.
hot take though. I think it was better than the Kingdom Hearts 1 version of Atlantica.
Oh, it was so jank. I hate 3D spaces.
Oh
Like
yeah,
anytime you have to like navigate like an X, Y, and Z coordinate, it
oh yeah, yeah.
sucks. I've never seen a
It,
game pull it off well.
I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that part in Atlantica when you had to like swim up that current or whatever?
Yes. The,
That was the worst thing, and you had to get onto the dolphin or whatever, and the
yeah.
dolphin was like so fast. It was like this millisecond. You had to like spam press the button to get on. Oh my gosh.
No, yeah. I think like 8-year-old Grayson actually rage quit that game for like a week, fighting that dolphin for like an hour.
Yeah.
But, oh man. But, but no, yeah, I mean, super fun. Like I liked 3. Like okay, but again, like I kind of reached a point where like I just had to be like I don't really understand the story. I don't need to understand it. I'm having fun, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I'll give the combat a pass, but I thought it was extremely easy.
Yeah.
It was way too easy because I played it on the release and I played it on the hardest difficulty and I never died.
Oh.
And I
Hashtag
never
humble
got
brag.
I never even got close to not dying. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Because in Kingdom Hearts 3, it's you could just spam press triangle and you get invincibility frames in like everything.
Hmm.
So you can like spam press triangle and you will survive anything, kill everything really fast.
That's handy.
Yeah.
They really did make it that was easy button.
Yeah, I heard that they introduced a critical mode and it was better, and then you could disable the triangle stuff, but I didn't play that.
Sure.
So
But hmm,
so yeah, that's my like long rant about like Kingdom Hearts 3. Like I could go on forever about how much I hate that game and how much
yeah.
I hate Tetsuya Nomura. Like I really hate him.
I mean, yeah, I wish he hadn't been in charge of the series. I really think they gave him just stupid amounts of leeway too. Like usually, like I like directors to kind of have free reign. Somebody
Yeah.
should have reeled him in, but that's
Yeah, I agree. I really agree because he's just this loose cannon that like thinks of something and is like, "Oh, that's a cool story. I'm going to put it into my game." And then he
yeah,
does that.
yeah, kind of. Some
And
things are more
all
blatant
all
than
of
others, but yeah,
and all of Kingdom Hearts like is basically the rule of cool. And
yeah,
that's what rules the Kingdom Hearts games is like don't think about it. It's just cool.
right. Oh, 100%. Like there's so many. Like even like way back in the very first one, where like I don't know. Which I mean, I guess to be fair, like it's like that first scene like on the island, like when was I think it was a dark side. I think is the name of that first boss you encounter.
Yeah.
That was hecka cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's just tons of set piece moments like that where it's like not any clear explanation for why, but it's like it looks cool though, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
That's what I felt like the Kingdom Hearts games became like after 2 or maybe even during 2
yeah,
was it was just the rule of cool, you know?
right. Which I mean, I was willing to go along for the ride. So, like, even though I certainly acknowledge most of the flaws you're talking about, like I kind of I was kind of willing to give it a pass for most of them because I was still. I mean, also, some of those side games were like freaking Chain of
Oh,
Memories.
yes.
I
Yeah.
I despise Chain of Memories gameplay.
Yeah, I
I
think that was the worst.
I managed to beat it because I wanted the story and I cared enough at that point still. Man, that
Yeah.
was not a fun system. Anyway,
I think I remember seeing a YouTuber and I think he perfectly described um the Kingdom Hearts games as one of the best stories told really poorly.
so mean. But yeah, it really is like it's like you can tell there's like really good story in there, but it's like a 6-year-old with ADD is telling you about it. And you're like, ah,
Yeah. Anyway, but let me just go on record of saying that like I don't hate the Kingdom Hearts series at all. Like I loved 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are precious to me and they're the only games I'll replay, but like everything else they have its flaws and I could see it as like a game that people would enjoy.
hmm.
Um and yeah. So,
I mean, I think it's a great like introductory series for people who want to get into RPGs
yeah.
because
I agree.
I think it's got a lot of really fun elements and it gives you that feel of what a story like what a game could have like with a big epic story, even though it's a little helter skelter at times, but it gives you
Yeah.
all the ingredients like what makes for a really good JRPG.
Oh yeah, you really feel especially like in 1, I guess. Like I really like the basically the hero's journey in 1 where they kept everything really simple and sure there was just some like weird stuff here and there, but it was mostly a
Right.
simple story.
Oh, yeah, and most of the characters get really good development. Kyrie starts her tradition of being shafted in every single game of never getting any development, but
That was one of the biggest things I hated about 3 as well. That
He
because of
never
that.
gets a chance. Never a one time, but oh
Oh,
well.
yeah, I think it was in Dream Top Distance. Like at the end, they teased like her getting a Keyblade and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, here we go! It's finally
Mm,
happening!" And then I'm playing 3, and I'm like, "Where? Why?
yeah, it's
How?"
such a such a letdown for like. Anyway,
Yeah, again,
it's,
this is a topic I can talk about for like hours and like just like churn out stuff that I don't like. So let's
it's
move on to a different topic.
sure, but no, I mean, Kingdom
uh,
Hearts is certainly a series.
yeah, it's a series. Let's just say that it's a series. There are good parts about it. There are bad parts about it. It's very like
It's
hit or miss in
tumultuous,
the community. Tumultuous. That's the word. So
but no, yeah. Um, so, anyway, I guess I think that was kind of on my list of potential games to talk about. So is there a game that you'd like? Is there a game series you like, Zyga, that you'd like to talk about?
sure. Um I guess we can talk about the near games.
Oh, good. We can talk about something that I despise now. But no, sorry, go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, now knowing more about like what your likes and dislikes are, I can see why you don't like the game.
Right, and I guess to be clear, I've only played Automata. I haven't really played any of the others. So,
Replicant, yeah. So
but yeah,
yeah,
so
Nier Automata was probably one of my favorite games of all time. Probably in my top 3.
wow,
Um um and it's made by Square Enix. It's a really good game. Made by Square Enix and Platinum
right,
Games. Platinum Games is like kind of like one of my favorite gaming studios.
mm,
They make character action games,
right,
and they made Bayonetta, which is another one of my favorite games.
right.
And overall, they just are masters at character action combat.
No,
So they started working on this near game, and for me, it really ticked all my boxes because it was kind of like this mysterious, like world that has
right,
fallen, and you're kind of like thrown into it, and it's kind of just like about like humanity surviving, or like no, finding humanity. I should say it is the biggest word to describe
right,
near automata is because in a world devoid of humans, e- everything is trying to find their own version of humanity, and I find that really interesting.
right. Hey, it's I was trying to pull up. I realized I could be pulling up images of games. I'm
And also,
struggling.
there's like a existential crisis like type of stuff as well that goes on there,
Right.
and I don't
Glory to
know. It's
mankind,
really hard to
indeed.
describe the game
Yeah,
to me.
it's a game where like you can't. It's hard to go into too much detail because because part of what makes the game like I don't know, the experience it is like the less you know going in, the more I don't know, authentic, I guess, a time you can have with it.
Yeah.
Um, and I will say, like, I will, as an aside, I'd probably put Automata as probably like the my least favorite game that I've ever finished. But I mean, the point is, like, I did finish it, and like, I think I even like went through into like most of the side content, even because like
Yeah, you got to ending E, yeah.
yeah, I got the I guess that's the true ending. That's the truest
Yeah,
one.
the true ending. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so I went through all the shenanigans and chicanery that is required. I mean, and I definitely like it's a game worth playing, I would say. Like it's very I don't know, there's really not another game quite like it. Like story wise, like I mean the combat, like the actual gameplay of it is pretty solid, I would say. Like you kind of get the opportunity to play as like multiple different characters throughout. And I'd say most of them, like I mean, they all play well. Some are more fun to play than others, I would say, maybe.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's really unique in the style that it's told because it really does like the new game plus thing in a different light.
right. I mean, that's the thing is like it's that's kind of what makes it worth the experience, like playing, because like I've I've never seen a game quite I don't know tell its story this way
Yeah.
as much as I was frequently just like super angry about
Yeah, I
the
know
way
you did. I know you. It's not your type of story. Like,
like it's not my kind of story for one thing, but also like the way they integrate the gameplay into the story um is at times frustrating, at least for me. I'm somewhat fundamentalist with games where like I like for me first and foremost is a game should be fun to play, and there are times when Nier makes the game very not fun to play as part of the way they're telling the story, and I'm extremely aggravated at those points. But
are you talking about like when the like perspective shifts and stuff like that?
the perspective
And
shifts were fine for me. Like there's just like certain there's like parts of the game where like you lose like certain game mechanics that make the game more difficult to navigate, or like
oh,
you,
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
and to be fair, I think I had exceptionally bad luck during that section because I don't think you're actually supposed to be able to die, but I had many problems and got angry.
I I honestly like know what part you're talking about, and I think I did the same thing. So,
so,
um,
so I mean, but
on
that
one of my
aside,
playthroughs.
like it's I don't know, I don't it yeah, it's an interesting game. I think there was something else I was gonna say and I forgot, but so
Yeah. The other game in the series is Replicant, and I'd say it's a bit different, tonal wise than Automata. Um, but it still has that kind of vibe to it as Automata did.
right.
Um, it's a little bit more annoying with the whole new game plus thing because when you like do a new game plus, they like feed you like a scene here and there, an extra scene here and there. Then on your
Mm,
next one, there's another scene here and there. Then on the next one, there's another scene here and there. So it's kind of
right.
it drip feeds you it instead of like Automata like giving you the whole thing in three.
Right. And Automata does a much better job of like even if you're technically like replaying parts of like the same story, like it doesn't feel exactly the same. Like it's different enough. Whereas Replicant seems like it you're just playing it again. But
Replicant, I think had the more interesting like characters, I'd say,
hmm.
and kind of like group because it was kind of like a party, kind of like JRPG party,
Yeah.
and you'd go around doing stuff with your party and kind of like get to know your party more. Whereas Automata is kind of like just you and 9S going around everywhere and solving issues or
Yeah.
doing things.
You're a detective duo. Not really.
Yeah.
That's not what the game is, but no, yeah, like that's fair. And I do I'm kind of tempted to try Replicant, like
Well,
because
it's hard for me to say because for you, like you'll probably not like the story because it's along the same veins as the first
well,
as Automata is.
yeah, I mean, what's his name? Yoshitaro. Taro?
Yoko Taro.
Yoko Taro, that's right. Getting all mixed up now. Yeah, Yoko Taro definitely has like certain philosophy that I probably just fundamentally disagree with. But that's fine. Like he has his motifs that he likes for his stories.
Yeah, isn't it called nihilism?
Probably nihilism is
I think that's the
the
I think that's the term.
it'd be like the broadest version of philosophy he tends to explore,
Yeah.
which is probably like my least favorite philosophy. So there's kind of yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. Like it's different from the kind of stuff I like, but it's I mean they're well made for what they are like.
Yeah.
So
And I thought the remake was pretty good of Replicant. It was very well done. Um, one of these days I'm gonna replay it, but I don't know when.
that's fair.
Yeah, that's a game there.
Yeah,
It's a game.
they are games.
Yes.
Technically JRPGs. Although again, like more action oriented, I would say. Like
Yeah.
so, but cool.
So what's another one for you?
One for me. Let's see here.
All for one for you.
Yeah, you know, oops, I broke it. Here, we're gonna talk about the most JRPG that's ever existed. How do I spell? I don't have to spell it. Yes. Hyperdimension Neptunia. Literally designed to be the most JRPG ever made. But there
Oh yeah, this one.
um
I've actually played some of the Neptunia games before.
yeah, they're I mean, so I have a huge soft spot for these games because I mean, when you average out the series, it's pretty mediocre. This is like just to be fully honest. They're they really don't go out of their way to do anything different. Like they're well, I mean, some of them are very different from each other. Like some of the side games are wacky and different, but for the most part, they are. I mean, it's turn based. It's a turn based JRPG. Like you have your party of adorable heroines. I think there's ever been like any male characters that play
No,
as.
there hasn't.
I don't think as far as like playable characters, like they usually aren't even voiced in cutscenes. Like they're super bad.
But you haven't told them like what the biggest thing about them is.
um, that they're delightful. What would be the biggest thing about them?
It's basically the console wars the video game.
Oh, sure. That yeah, because I mean, because that's the big gag of it is that the majority of the characters actually it's all of like all the major characters are either based off of like a console or a publisher or a developer. Like, and so like they're all like I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
I think
you have the PlayStation girl, you have the Wii girl.
yeah, they're like all the like I remember there's like the I remember what Neptunia is based off. She's based off like a Sega system, maybe. The
Think
Neptune.
so.
I think the Neptune was a canceled Sega system. If I remember right,
Yeah.
or I think the Neptune turned into like it ended up being like renamed or something. But yeah, anyway, so like all the characters are based off of like consoles very loosely. It and it's in a world where like the because I think like there's like the three goddesses that are like based off like the three major. Or I guess there's the four goddesses. I think originally. I'm not getting the lore. Lore doesn't matter. These games, the story is zero. Zilch matters. But they're just really fun. They're very much like parodies of JRPGs. So they go out of their way to like really like all of the stereotypes you expect in a JRPG. You get in Neptunia, but they're I'd say like this is probably like a major turnoff for some people, but they're hellaciously grindy. Like they're kind of designed with the prepper, so like you're supposed to spend hours the game just grinding, like random fights and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I like the base gameplay, the combat I think is quite fun, and so I did not mind doing hours of grinding. Um, but it's one of those like very old school style things where like you basically play until you hit a roadblock in the form of a boss who is like way too strong for you. And you're like, well,
Hmm.
I guess I got to go grind up about 40 levels because the level cap is 999 in this game. They make you go the whole way.
Did they?
At
I don't
least,
remember. I remember playing 1 and I think Mark 2.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you have to go the whole way. I think I just like grinding, but you could probably stop somewhere in the 200s and be fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're fun games. They're very silly. They're lighthearted. Um, the English translations have been kind of hit or miss. Like the newer ones are better. The early ones were very poorly translated in my opinion. Um, just because they didn't really try to translate the personality of the characters. Like it was just like straight machine translation of the dialogue. Usually like much more condensed version of what they were saying in Japanese. Which is kind of unfortunate. But I don't know, the new ones are, I don't know if I could say the new ones are better, but they have a better budget to them. I don't know. Like it's a very strange series. They go like because there's an idle game now. There's a rail shooter that was kind of fun. Um,
There's probably a gotcha game, right?
I don't know if there is actually. I mean, the problem is like the games themselves are kind of, they don't, rather than doing like gotcha content, like every game will have like about a million like DLC things you can buy that are like $2 each in the form of
I
like
see.
certain like items, weapons, outfits. And that's kind of where they really make all their money, is like because the game will be like, oh, the game's only like $30. And then I mean you can play just the game, but you want to unlock the super cool Coliseum mode for an additional $5? Or what if you want to play extra hard mode? That'll cost you $3. Or so they kind of microtransact you to death with getting the full game when they should just give it to you to start at $60 or something. But
Oh, that sucks. I didn't
that's
know that.
that's one thing I'd say is a flaw. I mean, and then there's the people who will always pay for the outfit DLC, which is just cosmetic, but it's like, oh, but they're gonna be in swimsuits. It's one of those games too. But yeah, so it's a silly fun, just the Jayest of RPGs. But like, you know,
Yeah, I can't think of anything bad to say about him because I enjoyed the first game and I enjoyed Mark 2.
right?
I remember I was like planning on playing all of them, but then I got like sidetracked with like other games.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I haven't played all of them either, to be fair. Like I've heard that I still haven't played yet, but apparently the best one was like Super Neptunia RPG, which was like
Hmm.
a 16-bit style game, or like 32-bit maybe. It was like very classic JRPG, where like inside the game they get trapped inside another game because why not?
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I've heard that one is a really good one. Like it's actually just like got really solid mechanics all around. But I
Hmm.
mean, they're just fun. They're fun, silly games that'll, you know, if you have like 60 to 80 hours you want to kill, they're good for it. So there you go.
Neat. Neat. Well, yeah, one of these days I want to play another one. Just
Yeah,
need to find the time.
they're good to they're good gap fillers if you're between like major games you're looking forward to or something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the next one I have
mm-hmm.
is the one of the only JRPG games that I actually 100%ed and I just remembered it.
Oh,
It's the only
wow.
one that I've 100%ed, and it was Persona 5 The Royal.
I guess Persona is technically a jerpig. I don't
So
even.
I've only played Persona 5, and
Okay.
Persona 5 is in my top 3 games with Nier Automata,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fantastic game. Fantastic game. You're basically living out the life of a high school student and
Wow, I've never seen that
essentially in
concept
real
in anime.
essentially in real time,
Wow.
because you live out every single day and you have to like plan what you do every single day. You gonna study? Are you going to do this? Are you going to go work part-time? It's kind of like this little micromanaging thing where gain stats slowly by figuring out what to do every day,
Hmm.
as well as on the side doing this like phantom thieves work where you're basically this thief that steals certain things, and so you're balancing all of this in your life, and it's so much fun. I really like the micromanaging element to it.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I've never. I mean, this has been on my to play list for a long time.
Oh, you should play it on stream.
I want to, but Atlas doesn't let you. You can't finish the game on stream. You can't play the final week or so of the game like
I
on
I
stream.
I think that's changed
I mean, maybe I think I looked it up maybe like 6 months ago, so maybe it's changed. But
because I remember it was like that for the very beginning, but I think that changed. I want to say,
yeah, I mean, if it did, that'd be cool. Because I this would be one I think would be really fun to play. It looks cool, and I want to
yeah,
play it. So,
it's also a turn-based battle system,
oh boy,
and you're like, uh, everything has different elements, and you kind of have to like know what elements go to which and what they're weak against, and then like do big attacks after you've like hit their weaknesses and stuff like that.
hmm, okay,
But yeah, I it was the first JRPG game that I 100% and got all the achievements.
wow.
And I did that last December.
Start calling you
I
Gerard the Completionist.
yeah, I went into it and I was like, I'm going to do the 100% um perfect schedule run on all
Yeah,
achievements. I followed a guide like to the letter the
it,
entire time.
you'd probably have to get it 100% right.
Yeah, you do. And I had to do like the harem ending. I had to like
Of course,
I
there's
had
a
to get
harem ending.
everything. And it was probably like one of the funnest weeks of like my life because it was so much fun like following everything to the letter and then seeing everything like just go up so fast because it's already been like mapped out and everything.
Hmm.
Plus it was like my first time playing the royal version, which is kind of like has like extra DLC, quote unquote DLC, that they like added a new ending or a new, yeah,
Okay.
new section of the game.
Hmm.
So again, it was fantastic. And
Fair.
all the characters are like super good. You just like get to know everyone really well, and they're just fun to hang out with and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
good game, good game.
I mean, it looks good. Like this is one I've been wanting to play nearly since it came out. I think, but I was like way too lazy to get it for PS4. I think it was or PS5. I don't know, whatever it came for. But now that then it came
It
out
was
on Steam.
PS4, I think.
Okay, I think I might. I'll have to double check. I think I've already bought this on Steam. I just held off on playing it. Although Lala now says that it's possible that it's better now. Somebody else has streamed within the last year and didn't get in trouble. So
Oh, so that's good.
Eagle says, Trials of Man have been discussed. You know, I've never played any of the Mana series. Have you ever, Zaiga?
No, I haven't.
It's that's been one I've really wanted to look into because I remember my uncle had it or had some of them for like the Game Boy Advance. I think I played Trials of Mana like maybe like for an hour or two on his Game Boy Advance because was because he was trying to get rid of me probably. But hey, I'll take a free game. But I mean, it looks really cool. I didn't understand it too well. I that could be a series to look into someday because I'm always looking for more good RPGs for sure.
Yeah.
And then Lawless says, my husband wants me to say the best JRPGs are Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, and Xenosaga. What's your opinion,
I
Zyga?
I have never played any of those games, so
You've
I
really
couldn't.
you've never played Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, I've never played it.
Really?
I don't even know what that is.
That's fascinating to me.
I'll have to look
Um,
it up. Chrono Trigger.
I mean, like authentically, like I would say, I mean, because eventually I'm gonna wear you down until you start streaming. Chrono Trigger might be an excellent game to try streaming because
I,
this
I
is
I've never seen this game before.
it's Square Enix, or I guess it was Square Soft at the time.
Looks like Dragon
Um,
Ball.
yeah, it's the I think it's Akira Toriyama again, like Dragon Quest. Um, but here we'll talk about this one briefly because this I wasn't going to talk about this one today, but I think this is certainly worth mentioning. Um, some people have considered this to be like the best RPG ever made. Um,
Really?
I mean, and honestly, like I think by for the year that it came out, I think up to that point it was by far probably the most polished RPG that had ever been released. Like it's very beautiful looking. The story is I mean, considering this was made for like the Super Nintendo, like it's an ambitious, like lengthy, like very complex story. Revolving around time travel, which time travel stories are so hard to do well. And I think Chrono Trigger is like a flawless example of like a really good story centered around time travel and all of the many implications that can ensue. It's also got like anybody remember like how big the cast is? Like it's not quite as it's not like Final Fantasy VI big, but like there's a good number of I think it shows 6 characters on that logo there. I think there's more characters you can have for your party. Like it's a big old game. It's very fun. And it's
Hmm.
got multiple endings based on like the different things you can do. Oh,
What?
anyone else hear the ring-a-ling ding?
They're what?
It was all in my head. I think somebody just subscribed. I don't know. I think that was a subscribe sound, but the thing didn't. It only played in my ear and made me sound crazy. Anyway, it's fine. I'm not. Eagles is what was that? Oh, okay. Eagles heard it too. So it played through the stream. Also, my husband thinks there's 7 characters. That sounds right because there's more. I can think of at least one more character that's not on the logo there. But Losses and I heard the ding. Yeah, there is a ding. I for some reason didn't show the ding. We'll worry about that later. It's probably fine. Don't worry about it, Zyga. But no, Chrono
I,
Trigger, I would say is like, and I would like authentically like if you're looking for a game to play, Zyga, this this is probably worth checking out. Honestly, like it's quite nice. And then Chrono, which I've never played, but it came out on the PlayStation 1 about similar time
hey,
to Final Fantasy 7. I want to say.
hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You just cut out.
How long did I cut
I
out for?
about like 5 seconds.
That sounds about right because I dropped frames for about 4 seconds. It looks like
Yep. And
cool.
I saw this. I have the stream on the side, and I saw it buffer.
Yep, it did. So that's that's been an ongoing concern. I don't know if did you hear, Zyga, that my router died last week, and I bought a new router that's like very expensive, very nice, but it like drops my internet constantly, and I don't know why I paid for such a nice router if it's going to be worse than my old one.
I told you you had to let your roommate buy it. I told you
Well,
not.
I've already returned it and got a different one.
And it's
It's
still doing the same thing.
it's working slightly better because the other one would drop like every 30 minutes. This one's only dropping every hour or so, hour and a half maybe. So yay. Anyway, that's Lost is very haunted. The stream got angry for a second. Yeah, you know. So sorry. So I guess just to wrap it up, Chrono Trigger, good game. If you're looking for a game you want to play, check it out. Chrono Cross is the sequel that I've never played it myself. I really want to actually, like, because I've heard that it's also quite solid.
Yeah.
And then someone's mentioned Xenosaga as well. I've never played the Xeno games, but I hear about I hear them talked about often. I'm a bit of a pleb when it comes to classics. I've never played Earthbound either.
Yeah, I've never played that either. So.
Thank you for the subscribe, Mr. Anderson. Watch out for Smith. All right, people are there are sounds happening. Anyway.
So anyway. one of the other games that I'll pick out because
Yeah,
my
sorry, go
last one.
on.
As my
Apologies.
last one to chat about is just Yakuza games. As you know from playing Yakuza 0,
Yeah.
the two best ones are Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami, I think.
And Kiwami's a
I
remake of 1, right?
Yeah.
Fair. I gotta
Yeah,
say, like,
Yakuza 0 is too good.
Yakuza 0 been pretty pog so far. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
know how far into the game we are. We're just back to playing Majima for the second time, so I don't think we're terribly far into the game at all, honestly. But we
Majima
unlocked
is his best character. He's best
Majima's
boy.
fun. We unlocked your favorite game mode, the Cabaret Club.
Oh, how did you like the Cabaret Club?
Uh, really long eye contact at very close range.
Yes.
With random girls. I was like, all right.
So if I go up to you, like if I next time I see you in person, if I like give you the signal, will you like give it to me? If I like squeeze something, will you like bring me an extra towel? Or
I mean, it's been Smo who's playing the game. Like, I think he's learning the signals better than I am. Like, I'm mostly just watching and like, I mean, there's a method to it. I guess this is a really in depth mini game. Like, they put more thought into this than they put into the combat.
that mini game, I remember like when I played Yakuza 0 the first time, I like speed ran that mini game. I did it so often. I like
Yeah,
wasted my life doing it.
yeah,
Like every 10 minute I was like gated by like the story because I couldn't like do the next part of the cabaret. I was so mad because it was just so addicting.
that might be signs of a problem, but no, yeah, like the Yakuza. Like, how many of them have you played, Zyga?
I've played Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and I think Kiwami 2.
Okay.
And I was in the middle of playing 3, but then 3 was starting to get boring, I guess. Well,
Mm,
it wasn't boring, it was just dated. And
right.
it was hard to play a dated game.
Sure. Because I guess at that point, 3 would have been the oldest one
Yeah.
because they've remade the first 2.
Yep. And
So,
apparently 3, 4, and 5 are just like kind of dated.
Right, probably a
So
little harder to get through.
yeah, and I remember playing it, and then I was like trying to find out where to go, and I was kind of getting annoyed because it was such an old game, and I felt like I had to like get a guide out on the side a little
Yeah.
bit.
I know you don't like old things. You've mentioned this once or twice before, so
Yeah. So I really hope that they get remade sometime. And they get like a Kiwami version of 3 or 4. That would be
right.
great.
I'm sure they'll work on it. They'll work through them eventually. Like I'm pretty sure Kiwami and Kiwami 2 paid pretty well for them, so I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll I'm sure they'll continue that trend. I mean, why
And
not? Like so.
so Kiwami and like Kiwami 2 are just based off the Yakuza 0 engine, and it's basically like you're playing Yakuza 0 again.
Mm,
Um so that's why enjoyed them. But overall, the best game was 0, 100%.
yeah, zero's definitely been an experience and a half. Like
Yeah.
such a strange mix, but like it works though. Like it's like I feel like the main story is like very serious, very drama heavy, and
Yeah.
then the side content is no serious, no drama heavy. Like and it somehow just like balances out. Like
Yeah,
but
it's like so ridiculous sometimes. You get like the most ridiculous side quests.
no, yeah, like it's like and it's like so whiplashy too because like you'll be like running down the street like on your way to like the next main objective and you'll be pulled off to the side by like some rando who's like got like the most like absurd problem. And they're like, you gotta help me now,
And
like
they're like a
please.
crazy person or like a homeless person. They're wanting like something.
I told my dad I was dating a pirate. You gotta help me. Like
Yeah.
what is happening?
Uh, yeah,
But
so great. Yeah, Yakuza 0 is a game. It's a
it
fun
it
game.
certainly is a game. You know they're fun. I've been liking it. It's it
I think
is
the
yeah.
side quest that stood out the most to me was like I don't remember if it was from Kiwami or it was 0. I think it was 0. It was like you got like roped up into like following this one guy, and then he like led you to a store, and in that store was like all these men dressed up as babies, and they were being like coddled by women.
Uh, I think I've seen a clip of that. We haven't encountered that in the game, but I think I've seen the clip of that like on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I think that it might have been in 0, it might have been in Kiwami, I don't remember. But I remember that so much.
And has it been burned in your memory?
Yeah, it's been burnt in my memory.
Congrats. So yeah, Yakuza, pretty solid series.
I also feel like yeah, the Yakuza games are also like it's not only like those things, but it's also like a mini game.
Right, yeah, like they always have like because like there's like the main combat, which is kind of like I guess the meat of the game, which at least for Zero is like pretty well designed, like pretty satisfying. But then yeah, like there's like the major mini games. There's like just like the one shot mini games you'll do.
Have you guys done the race car one or the
Um,
mini race car thing?
I haven't done anything with race cars yet that I know of.
Okay.
So like again,
Yeah,
I
there's
if I had to guess, we're probably
so
like
much
25% of the way into the game. Like,
good
but
game.
it's a fun one, gotta say. So
I hope you'll be able to finish it because I love the
I'm
story.
I'm sure we'll get there eventually. Like we're playing about 2-ish hours a week, so it's just gonna it'll take a second. But
Also just very like memey, the
oh
entire
yeah,
thing.
Like at least once a stream we come across a scene, we're like, oh, it's that thing from the meme. Like,
Yep.
but
Yep.
so yeah, Yakuza, pretty decent.
Oh, it has like the collectible trading card stuff as well.
Yeah, the idol cards.
Dude, I love those idol cards.
So I'm guessing those have got to be real idols, right?
And I'm guessing Smo's not showing you the videos, is he?
There's videos with those cards.
Yeah, I'm guessing Smo's not showing you those.
I can't believe Smo's holding out. I'm gonna have to talk to him about that.
I don't think it's streamable.
Well then,
It might be streamable.
is it against TOS? Is like copyrighted music or something?
No. Let's just say that you can like go into like an adult video store and watch some not well, it's not like
I mean, it's only rated M, so they can't be
it's
that
bordering,
bad. But,
yeah, as Lala says, it's bordering not safe for work.
right, like whatever they could
It's
get
like,
away with the rating system, but
yeah, it's just like uh the girls from the cards in just bikinis or whatever in like a real life video.
all right.
Yeah, it's borderline NSFW.
Fair. Well noted. Have you, Zaiga, have you heard of Shadow Hearts
No.
that Lala has suggested? I have not heard of that one at all. Like, not even. All right, Lala, if this ends up being a trick that gets me banned, I'm gonna be mad. I think
I've
Lala
never
might have
seen
spelled
this.
shadow wrong. Oh, it was spelled like the regular. Lala, you lied to me about the spelling. I can't believe you do this to me. PlayStation 2 game. Shadow Hearts. From the New World. I've never heard of these. I'm curious. Oh, I bet this game is jank as hell to play.
It looks like Resident
Oh,
Evil, like
it's a horror vibe to turn-based combat. Yeah, it's like turn-based Resident Evil. That's fascinating. All right, well, I'll research this later. Shadow Hearts coming. There's been a few games apparently, but okay, sorry.
So what is your last one?
Like a historical Russian JRPG or something. All right. Sorry. My last one for the talkies. Here. I think we've already kind of you can spell. We've already kind of touched on it once or twice in little ways. But this is my favorite JRPG basically ever right now. As of the time of this episode is Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, Definitive Edition S. I haven't actually played the Definitive Edition yet, but
This is one game that I've had like on my list to play for a long time.
I would say like, and granted, like this is the only Dragon Quest game I've ever played, and so I don't have the full context of the scope of the other games like in comparison.
Yeah.
But this was just an awesome experience, like all the way through. Like and that's, I don't know. I'm trying to think how to like. I mean, it's very JRPG. I mean, it's Dragon Quest. Like Dragon Quest is like one of like the classic JRPG series. Like it's turn based. You have a pretty big party. I want to say it's like 7 characters you play with. At a time, like can kind of like select between. The story is very classic in a lot of ways, but it has some really good twists. I don't know, like, because I mean, basically, like it's like the story is like you were born with the mark that designates you to be like the hero of the age, and you're destined to defeat the Dark Lord. Congrats! And then you go on a fun, happy adventure to do that thing. and then things get twisty.
With no problems.
Yeah, nothing bad happens. You win in the very first arc. Nothing suspicious about that. No, I'm kidding. But no, like but like there's lots of fun things that happen. Like there's like developments. There's things you don't expect to happen. It's just
But
like
how
really, huh?
but how can this be your favorite JRPG if it's not an isekai? Or is it?
Oh, dun dun dun. I mean, and I could actually I it depends on what you define as isekai, but there's certainly elements of things that could allude to that. Um, but and also just like because like the main cast is great. There's a feature in the game that I love, um, which basically is like you can choose to camp, pretty much any point in the game. And whenever you set up camp, you can actually like go and talk and interact with like each of your party members. And there's so much like variation in like the amount of dialogue you can have amongst the party. Like you really get to like know the other characters. You get to like learn like their thoughts on like every little thing that happens in the game. Like I would camp as frequently as possible just so I can like hear their thoughts on like the most recent like story development. Like
That reminds me of BioWare games.
yeah, like
Dragon Age, Mass Effect.
yeah, I bet it was inspired by that kind of thing because like basically like any point of the game, like even if you're like not camping, there's an option always like just like rather than like having like a hint system, it was just like always like if you don't know what to do next, you can just like hey you can just like ask a random party member and see what they say, and sometimes they have helpful advice and sometimes they don't know either. But so it's really fun that there's lots of like side stories that are really interesting that like I still think about like right like it's one of those games where like the story is like surprisingly deep even though it seems very shallow to start.
Yeah,
It's like it's a game that I think about very often,
really.
but because like there's certain like twists and choices you get to make as the player. Like I
Yeah.
still go back and forth like, oh, well, like what's really like what is the better choice there? Like it's like I mean you can play the game both ways and see for yourself. But like even after playing it both ways, I'm like, man, what is the better option there? Like, Eagle says the party comments are very fun to read. Yeah, I love freaking oh no, this guy Eric, I think. Yeah, Eric. Eric is my favorite character ever in games. He is my husbando. He's the greatest. Because
What makes him great?
he's just so sassy. I mean, he's basically like he's kind of like the stereotypical like rogue thief guy, but like he's also like is like he's like really smart, but he's also so dumb. like really walks this like line. Is that why I automatically like Thancred? Look, I might have it. Look, I like the roguish personalities. Okay, I like someone with a bit of mystique. But no, Eric is he's really funny, and he tends to be like the least helpful person to ask for advice because he's like I wasn't even paying attention, or like I think I fell asleep at that part, and he's got like a really great character arc like throughout the game, and that's the other thing is like just like every character like kind of like changes and grows. It's pretty. It's just a fun game, so it's worth trying.
One of these days, I really want to play it. It's just one of these days.
No, yeah, I mean it's for sure like yeah, just whenever you're wanting something a little different because it's a good one. So Eagles says Eric is the coolest part. Yes, Eagles, you're great. Definitive Edition is way better than the original. Yeah, I want to because the definitive edition you can play the whole game as a 16-bit RPG as an option, and you can switch back and forth whenever. It's like you can like replay the entire game as if it's a classic like SNES game, or like Or like hop back and forth just to see what the difference in cutscenes are and stuff.
Hmm.
And there's a fun mode in the game. I can't remember what it's called, but like basically there's an option you can turn on, like basically just like enables like random like silliness. It's like some kind of curse you can turn on that'll just like randomly cause your character to like super fail in combat and stuff.
Hmm.
It's like really, I don't know what it's called, but it's pretty silly. It's just it's fun. So we have a couple games I like, or Rogue Galaxy and Ys 8. Yeah, Lala's mentioned Ys 8 a couple of times, and Rogue Galaxy, I think.
Hmm.
But anyway,
I've never heard of those.
the Ys series is one I've wanted to get into, but it's such a long series. There's so many games now. And then I've heard Rogue Galaxy. I think Rogue Galaxy was like a PS2 game, maybe. But anyway, so yeah, that's probably like my last one.
Very
Uh,
cool. I think
uh
that's all of them.
yeah, I think that's plenty for now. We could always do like a part 2 of this later when you remember other games you've played.
Oh yeah, I remembered so much by looking at my Steam library completed
Yeah. Oh,
tab.
there you go. Yeah, I mean, there's like we could always go back and break this down and do other ones or something. But
Shout out the Final Fantasy episode.
yeah, I'll do a Final Fantasy. Like, how would we like? When would we want to do that? Like, do I need to
We
like
could do-
finish Endwalker
No, we can do that next time.
next time? Even that's so soon.
No, I was talking about like other Final Fantasy games,
Oh,
like
sure.
one through 12 or something like that.
Okay, sure. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, we all know that it was 1 through 12, and then 14 happened, and then there was never any others. So
Wait, but 13 was the thing.
no, it wasn't. There was no crossover perfume line.
No, I swear there was. There wasn't there 3 games?
You must be having one of those strokes, Zaiga. I don't know. I mean, 13's an unlucky number. They wouldn't have made one of those. It would have just been guaranteed to be bad.
And we will have to talk about the best Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Mm,
10-2.
Yes, 10 too.
Yeah, I can't believe that was actually what you were gonna say.
It was what I was gonna say.
Yes.
It
Oh,
was the best one.
it's such a fun one. Like, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that was a memorable game.
That was my childhood game.
I love 10-2 so much. It's such a train wreck in so many ways, but it's so fun. Oh my gosh.
So,
Anyway,
yeah, we should do like a general Final Fantasy.
that'd be fair because
Like,
we really did kind of avoid talking about those ones this time around, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
I mean, I guess because it's such an obvious beast of a series, but yeah, that could be fun to do a dedicated Final Fantasy because I think we've both played quite a few of them. So
Yeah, I played 1 through 6, 8, and then 10 through on, except for 11, of course.
sure, fair. Yeah, I think I've played. I'd have to think about it. Like I've played most of them. I think like there's probably one or two that I haven't. Like I don't think I ever finished 5. I never played 9. And then but I played all the way up to 12, and I never worried about going past 12 because 12 was the pinnacle.
Yeah, the ones that I didn't play were 7 and 9 and 11. Yeah. Those are the only
Okay,
ones I haven't played.
fair. But yeah, so I think that'll do it for this year episode. Just kind of getting to chat about some fun games we've played and get Zaiga all steamed up about Kingdom Hearts, which is always fun.
One of these days we'll have a Kingdom Hearts episode, and then I could just go ham.
Yeah.
I could be unleashed.
Sure
But yeah,
thing.
Tetsuya Nomura is the one reason why I really don't want to play the Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, is he in charge of the remakes?
Yeah,
That
that's why.
explains so much actually. That explains a lot.
So here's a quick little story thing. Is that I tried playing Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah?
I bought it. I got halfway through, I think, around halfway through, and then I realized something.
Hmm.
This game's not a remake.
Oh, it's not, no. It's a
And
reimagining.
I was sitting there going like, wait a second, this isn't a remake at all. And
No.
I was like super turned off. So I just like, this is Tetsuya Nomura doing Tetsuya Nomura things.
Yeah, he's making his fanfic version of Final Fantasy VII. That's what it is, but it's I mean, I don't know. I haven't played
For
the
for
remakes
me,
personally, but
for me, what defines a remake would be if it was the exact same game remade.
yeah, that's usually what a remake would mean,
Like
right?
one for one, like one for one,
Sure.
like nothing new added, just the same game but looks upgraded.
Right. I mean, like a good example would be like the DS remakes they did for like Final Fantasy 3, 4, 3 and 4. Like it was essentially the same game. It just they updated it with like actual like 3D graphics.
Remaster is different because the remaster is just updating the original game.
Right. It's taking
Like,
like the original sprites and just like
yeah,
the pixel remasters they've been doing like of 1 through 6. Those are remasters because it's the exact same game, but it's also it's basically just like the exact they've just kind of like adjusted it for being like HD versions of that game.
yeah, and like for example, the Final Fantasy X regular game and then the Final Fantasy X remastered. Like it was just like a graphical update and like they smoothed out just the way it looked and stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas a remake would be like, as Lala said, like from the ground up.
Right. Kind of like I mean, I guess the Resident Evils are like the cause those kind of toe line because they're a
Well,
bit more than a remake, but they're
I think they're a remake, isn't it? The newer
I,
Resident Evils.
I think for the most part they do change the story slightly, but I think it's more to update it to match the rest of the existing canon to kind of like
Yeah.
get rid of any like retcon nonsense. Which fair enough. So, I mean, but it's yeah, it's not quite like like a reboot, but they're maybe a bit more than just a basic remake. Crisis Core.
Dude, Lala is saying exactly what's on my mind.
Yeah,
Crisis Core Reunion. Yeah, that's fan fiction. Yeah.
it's yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I don't have as in principle I don't have anything against it. It's just it's all about how it's marketed, right? Like
Yeah,
because they're calling it
that's
a
the
remake when like it's a completely different game, and people are playing
it
it for the first time, expecting that they're playing what was the PlayStation One version.
yeah, and that's what I thought it was. I thought it was gonna be the PlayStation 1 version. And then I got like halfway and then I realized it wasn't. And then
Right,
I was like, well, I want to experience the original game. I haven't played the original game yet. So maybe I should go back to that. But
right.
then like when they announced whatever the part 2 of the remake is, I forgot what
Mm,
it's called, Reunion or something like that, where like all of the games are on like Final Fantasy 7 was starting to do the Kingdom Hearts vibe,
mm,
you know, where it was just like so many different side games they were trying to bring all together. And I was like, I am out. I am out. I'm not going down this route again. I went down this route with Kingdom Hearts. I'm not
yeah.
going down it again.
Yeah, and I guess, and to be fair, like the original Final Fantasy VII probably has had the most side games associated with it. Because
Yeah,
there was Crisis Core, there was, Dirge of Cerberus existed for better or worse. There
yeah,
was a
and then
movie. I
yeah, there was a
think it was a mobile phone
movie.
game.
Yeah, there's another mobile phone game coming out next month.
Thank goodness. I was wondering where I'd do with all this extra money I have. I was
But
like,
yeah,
won't
it was
someone please take
the
this?
Final Fantasy. How they're doing Final Fantasy VII right now is just giving me Kingdom Hearts vibes. So that's why I'm just like, this ain't it, fam. This ain't
Right.
it.
I don't think anybody should be surprised that Tetsuya Nomura is going to do Tetsuya Nomura again, just to a different series.
Yeah.
And I think, it'll be interesting because I think with Kingdom Hearts, there's definitely a lot of people who are angry, but there's also a lot of people like me who are just kind of like, well, like they weren't like not super mad, but just like just a shame kind of thing. But that now he's actually screwing with a very beloved classic game that many people grew up and cherish. Like, so
Yeah,
he's probably going to get into hot water, but we'll see.
yeah, it isn't just Nomura, but he's there, and I know he's there.
His little Nomura
He
tentacles are
he's
snaking through
there.
everything.
Yeah,
He's like, what
he
if we
has
had
his
more belts,
tendrils.
zippers,
Yes.
more things on the clothes, guys? Loops. Add more loops.
Anyway, I don't. One of these days, I'm going to play Final Fantasy VII, the original,
Right.
but I don't think I'll ever touch the remakes ever again.
That's fair. I personally don't have a ton of interest in playing those either. Eagle says the
But the original, I'm really interested in playing because the original is one of those timeless classic games,
I
and that
mean,
everyone always hypes up. So
yeah, I will say like the story and like the basic combat is exceptional. Um, you just got to keep in mind that there are parts of that game that are extremely dated. Um,
yeah, I know
but if you're willing to
the
put up with
polygons.
the polygons, but also like for me that there's a major frustration factor in that there's big segments of the game where it's like it's fixed camera angles and you have to play a guessing game of where they want you to go or what they want you to interact with.
Uh,
Like, and that's it's almost like you might want to consider a guide for some of those because there's a train graveyard that you can get stuck in for hours if you don't know what the game wants you to do.
oh
Now,
yeah,
like
I think I remember seeing a video of that at one point, but
like it's as a child it was maddening. So I think I think because I was like 6 or 7 when I played 7 for the first time. And I think I got to that part and I was like, this must be the end of the game because I can't go anywhere else. And so I just stopped playing it. Like,
yeah,
but
my favorite one though is 10 and 10 too. Those are my favorites. I know
those
yours
are
favorites was 12, but
yeah. I got a soft spot for 12 for sure. But I mean 10 and 10 too. Like 10 2 I had tons of fun with and 10 wasn't bad. Like 10 is still like I'd say it's on the upper end of the Final Fantasy spectrum.
yeah, 10 was my first game. So that's another reason why it has a special place in my heart.
That's totally fair. It's a good one. Like no question. So oh yeah, yeah, lol. 10.2's job system is
Oh
is
yeah,
peak.
it is.
Just
But
actually fun.
that game awoken something in me.
Yeah,
It awakened my love for Riku.
yeah.
She was like my first crush.
I I guess
As a kid.
sure. Fair enough. I just trying to remember like anyway. Yeah, like the job system in that game was really cool.
Oh yeah, it was.
And actually, I think I remember the opening cutscene that where like Yuna does that song.
Yeah.
That was like such like I don't know, like that was such like a mind blowing experience. Like because like it looked so good for the time. I was like I don't think I'd ever heard J-pop up to that point. And I was like, what is
Oh
this
yeah, same.
music? It's like, oh, it's so good.
That 1,000 word song is still one of my like top songs of all time.
I mean, that's actually I think because Yuna, or no, it's not Yuna. What's the? Oh, it's something box. That the artist that did the music for that game. Um, oh, this is gonna bug me. That's probably like the first like J-pop artist I really got into. Sweetbox, maybe. I want to say.
Well, I actually have the Final Fantasy X2 and X soundtracks here somewhere.
Ooh,
But yeah, those.
Lawless is a man of culture. I assume for
Yeah,
Riku. Raku?
Riku was like my awakening.
Yeah.
To say it. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cute
Yeah. Fair.
as a kid.
All right.
And
This
then
is Raiko.
no, Riku.
Raikou.
The better Riku.
Hmm. The like
There's two different Riku. There's two different Rikus. There's the Riku from Kingdom Hearts, which is the mid Riku, and then the better Riku
I mean, I
and
think Kingdom Hearts Riku
from
also
Final
awakened
Fantasy
a
X.
lot of people too. To be fair, but yeah, there's either 1K or 2Ks. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Raikou is a Pokemon. If I, yeah, thanks, Eagles. I meant the Pokemon. I think that's the electric dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't played those in a while, but
But
oh,
yeah,
is Pokemon a
we'll talk.
JRPG? Hold on.
It is a JRPG. Oh
Oh
my
my gosh, we've
gosh.
solved it.
We could
All
talk
right,
about Pokemon Red and Blue
God, can we do a
or and
Pokemon
Gold and Silver.
episode?
Gold and Silver. Well, I've only played Red and Blue and Yellow and Gold and Silver.
Yeah,
Those are
those are
the
the
only
only
ones
good
I
ones.
played.
Those are probably the
Yeah.
best ones, honestly.
Yeah, they're the best ones, and then they've just tanked from there.
It was a slow decline. I mean, I liked Pearl and Diamond, but I mean they
I
were
think
still weren't as fun. But
I think Gold and Silver like had the best one because I think that generation of Pokemon and then the previous generation were the most iconic.
I think because it was still the original guy that was doing like the majority of them. I think
Yeah.
after that, like it started becoming like teams of people coming with Pokemon that just kind of diluted it.
Yeah,
And
and
also, I mean, Gold and Silver spoils you because like you go back to Kanto, and I played Ruby, being like, oh my gosh, I get to go through 3 worlds this time, and it was just the one. I was very disappointed.
yeah, I love that about Gold and Silver, how you could just go back to basically to the original game and play the original game as well.
That like blew my mind as a kid. I was like, it's like yeah, because like you beat like what's his face at the end of Johto, and like this door opens and suddenly you can go to Kanto, and you're like, oh no way, like
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
And I remember before I knew about like well, I knew about like elemental weaknesses and stuff in that game, but I remember throwing my head at that final boss, the secret boss, Red or
Oh
whatever. I
yeah,
remember
free.
playing that so often.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever beat him actually. I'm trying to think because his Snorlax would just womp me.
Yeah, what a game. I missed that game.
Those are fun. I could legit do an episode about Pokemon because I liked the show a lot too as a kid. But
Okay,
like,
well,
anyway, we probably should get out of
let's
here.
plan on yeah, let's plan on this. We'll plan on next time talking about some Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I could do a Final Fantasy episode. We'll probably 14 will probably become its own episode at some other point, but we can definitely talk about others in the show series.
We'll talk about Stormblood. Well, we'll talk about 14 once you finish the Stormblood content.
Like the patch content. That's fair.
Yeah, Stormblood patch content.
That's fair. So As it has been decreed, so shall it be. Thanks everybody for hanging out tonight. This was tons of fun. This was a fun one to do. Thanks to Lala and Eagles and Smo and Hatun, and Jarek was also here to bother Zaiga, which I appreciate. And make sure. And then thank you to the person that subscribed in the middle of the stream. I don't think you were watching the stream. I think it just notified us anyway. So congrats to you. I don't. Yeah. Zaiga, any final words from you?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I haven't been watching any anime. I'm going to try and watch more anime.
はい。悔い改めなさい.
Yeah. No.
You must repent.
No.
Change your ways.
No.
I really remembered how to say that word. Took a second, but anyway.
Oh no. I can't. Like, just the season has been so boring. I'm sorry. The season's just. I can't wait for it to be over. I can't wait to be over.
But no, the vending machine.
I never want to see a vending machine ever again.
Oh.
I'm gonna have I have PTSD every time I see one.
Can you imagine how many like vending machines are going to be decorated to look like that one now in Japan?
Yeah. Every time I see one now, I'm gonna be like, what if it's actually thinking in there?
Oh, what a horror show the world becomes like. Can machines think? Oh god. Yeah,
like,
that's
just think of how pitiful your existence would be if you just had to sit on the side of the road and just vend people things.
I think if you have the right attitude, you could get pretty hype about it.
Well, yeah, of course. If you were that one guy in that show,
if your dream was to become a vending machine, you're like, hell yes, finally.
Finally, my life's work, the biggest thing in my life is happening.
Everything I've worked so hard for. Oh man. So yeah, that's enough for tonight. Good night to you as well, Eagles. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah,
he says, "Oh no, the vending machine one. It's so good though. Why does everyone
talk to everyone?
Why does everyone hate it anyway?" All right, we'll get out of here. Goodbye. Have good sleeps.
Farewell. See you next time.
Right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.